Katurah Topps knew what had to be done. She needed to break up the showmans of D. Valladares and Austin Lee Kuhn on Survivor 45, or nobody else stood a chance. And she engineered the votes to make it happen. But when the time came for her to cast the deciding vote that would send D out of the game in 5th place, Katurah got cold feet and changed her vote to Julie Alley instead. And then, just as Katurah predicted, D and Austin went all the way to end, with D ultimately winning the $1 million from the jury. Why did Katurah, who went down at the very next tribal council when she lost a fire-making challenge to Jake O'Kane, really change her vote at the last minute? We asked the 4th place finisher all about it, as well as how she thinks she would have done had she made it to the final 3, why she found herself at the bottom at the tribe swap, and, oh yeah, her true feelings about Uncle Bruce. Katurah Topps, oh my god. Dalton. It is the moment that still haunts me to date. It was so right there, and nobody beats me up about that more than me, so I totally get why everybody's like, what is going on? Honestly, it just came down to trust. I mean, they showed it a little bit in the episode that I really was working to convince Jake. He was laser-focused on it had to be Julie, and I was like, no, you don't get it. And I literally laid out, this will happen at 5, this will happen at 4, in every scenario that D is still in the game after 5, we lose. And I thought that maybe pulling him in on that would kind of get him on the same page with me. It took hours though, all afternoon. I was drilling him, and he finally did come around, to his credit. He was like, I'm on board with the plan. But I knew that Jake had a history of really wanting to make big moves so bad that I thought sometimes he overlooked the strategic part of what was happening. Me and Jake had worked so closely with the Caleb thing at the merge split, and I remembered being like, why would he ever think as a Survivor player that going to Rocks at Final 12 makes sense? And then if you were going to try to convince somebody to do it, why would you think that telling them moments before? You're confirming all their suspicions that they were on the outs, that they have been excluded, and that you guys aren't going to add them or see them as a true alliance. Moments like that were in my head at that Final 5. We've been here with Jake before. We've had him pitch something crazy or want to do something so flashy that he forgets what's important. And my gut kept saying, he's lying about something. Every alarm bell in my body was going off. I remember that feeling so strongly, and my life, my background, the way I've grown up, the things I've seen, you guys got a little bit of that in the show. I've seen some horrors. It has been hard. It's been rough, and I've learned that I need to listen to that. If my body is saying alert, 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 this person is lying to me, it literally has meant life or death. It literally could mean you may be homeless, something terrible may happen. And I just couldn't shake the feeling. And it was like you always listen to it and it's always right. Honestly, I knew that Jake was hiding and lying about something. I thought it was that he would write my name down. And it turned out that the thing he was lying and hiding about was that he was going to play as idol for me, which is so crazy. Strategically, I didn't really vibe with what Jake was doing. I was like, why'd you tell Austin that you have an idol? Everybody knows you have this idol. You're saying you're going to play it for yourself, but I'm getting some energy from you that's saying, I got a special trick up my sleeve. And what I've seen is Jake's tricks up his sleeve don't always benefit me and aren't always strategically where I think they should be. D seemed worried about going against you in the final 3. How do you think you would have done if you had gotten there? If I got to the final 3 without D, I feel like I would have done it. My ideal final 3 at that point was Austin and Jake, and I felt very confident that I would be able to pull the votes from Jake. I didn't really view that he would get any votes, honestly, and I ended up being right about that. And I felt very strongly that of the Reba 4, Austin was kind of number 4. The way I perceived the game, I thought D and Drew were the strategic brains, and Julie was the emotional, oh we love her so much, and I didn't think Austin had that. I didn't get strategic insight from Austin. I struggled so hard in that game, and for the first 12 days, every single person on my whole tribe turned against me repeatedly. And Austin never had that. He had this really comfortable alliance that saved him and protected him this whole way through. He had advantages and things that I didn't have. I'm a pretty good talker. My persuasion skills are really good, and I felt comfortable that if I explained the game through my eyes and what I had done and how I stood up and said, you know what? I have to accept that Bello/New Lulu is never going to pretty much care about Katurah on a gameplay level. Let me flip it. Let me go to Reba. Let me pitch this to them. Work with them until the end. And then while they start eating each other, I'll be there to be the one that helped them do that. It happened exactly to the T the way I called it from day 12, and I just thought that I would be able to strongly push that out. Now, after seeing Final Tribal Council, I remember I was like, oh, damn, Austin's coming a little harder than I thought, so maybe I wouldn't have. And so in another world, maybe that's the universe saving me from being a zero-vote finalist at Tribal. But I was ready. I had the final Tribal speech. I had bullet by bullet ready to go.